Hello again, my friends, and welcome back to one more video I want to do this evening. Sometime around the midnight hour, probably 11:30ish p.m. on April 5th, 2025. And I just got done making a couple videos over the past few hours, and whenever I'm in the mode of thinking, I tend to share more than I should. And most of the time, I don't upload them, or if I do, I either keep them unlisted or I only share them on Patreon. And that is kind of a hint. If on the Patreon page, it's where I put videos that I just don't want to put out to the general public sometimes, where maybe I've had a few drinks or and maybe get a little controversial. But I'll be adding more to that soon. But this evening, I've made a few videos I'll probably upload to YouTube. And I've been thinking about, I was like, well, maybe I'll just put those on Patreon. I said, why? I started thinking about any kind of content that I could have possibly made. And I realized that anyway, yeah, I got disturbed for a second there. Nothing I say is controversial. It's funny, you see there was a cutaway for a second. I got interrupted, and it's just a natural flow. I come back to the camera, I talk about my thoughts. But even then, I find myself feeling a little bit unsure or insecure sometimes about, you know, not the things that I believe because I feel very strongly about them. I just feel like, well, some people might be bothered. It took me a while to realize that. I mean, over the years, I've made every effort to not offend my audience. And that's not for the sake of views or clicks. There's a huge difference here because I want people to stick around to realize that this crazy liberal actually has some conservative views. And I want conservatives to realize that. And at the same time, I want liberals to realize that you don't have to fall into line with whatever the current paradigm or, bullshit is. But the same with the right. And I don't want to dwell on that because politics are not my life. It's not what I focus on all the time. Lately, I've been paying a lot more attention because of all the stupidity that's been going on. But you can't look away. It's something that you're forced into. It'll fade away in a couple months. I'll go back to talking about some spiritual bullshit. It's just how my brain works. I get into something and I'm like, this is fascinating because right now I don't recall who pointed it out, but they're like, we've got so many people convincing us that there's going to be some civil war where it's like left against right, when in fact it should be a class warfare. It should be all of us against, the oligarchs, but instead we put them in charge and we've trusted them with the keys. So, hey, so be it. I can't fight against that. Honestly, look, I'll be straight up with you. Part of me is an accelerationist. I don't mind if the shit hits the fan. In fact, I expect it. I've always been kind of a prepper, and I'm like, part of me says, God, just to kind of start over, to see everything kind of fall apart. But I know that's not right. But I can't help how I feel. You see, it's a conundrum. It's a major issue in my life where I've got kids. I want them to grow up in a good world, but I also feel like us continuing as normal with all the bullshit we put up with, where my kids can't even afford a house now. That's bullshit. I got a 30-year-old son with his girlfriend who's living in a house with like 8 other people or whatever, not eight, but you've got to rent places with other people and it's just become the norm, or stay with your parents. People should be able to afford a home, right? And people can make all kinds of excuses as to why that's the case, but land is still out there, okay? And houses can still be built reasonably priced. So there's no excuse except greed. And greed has cost the generations we have now by robbing the wealth to give to these people who buy gold toilets. And now one is sitting on a gold toilet in the White House. And my curiosity gets to me. I cannot help but think, why do people think a guy who only helps himself and has made it very clear he only helps himself? Even the fake game show that he had, he only helped himself. This is what business people do. It's what they write about, it's what they talk about, getting the best deal. But the question is, are they getting the best deal for us? Or are they getting the best deal for themselves? And that one seems pretty obvious to me. A person who doesn't understand the word groceries fascinates me. And it sounds trivial. I was going to post something about this earlier. Um, yeah, but I couldn't because I'm like, it's just so trivial, so small. You've got the president who's just fascinated with the word groceries, like he's never heard it before. And I think, okay, I get that. He doesn't have to shop for himself. It's not like he has to understand this, but has nobody ever come up and said, we're worried about grocery prices? I mean, before, like years ago, like these are normal things that Americans have to deal with. And I think of how out of touch wealthy people are with Americans. And maybe even a lot of Americans who have a little extra money are becoming out of touch with other Americans. The ones who really, make shit run. The ones who, literally clean the sewer pipes and the streets and take care of business. And now they're just being ridiculed as just wasteful government workers and fired, willy-nilly. And it's just a weird time to be an American. Like, I still have pride in my fellow people. I still believe that most people have good hearts. But I see that we've chosen to put people in charge that don't. And it is what it is. I'm not saying there was another option. I want to make this clear. I have friends who are Democrats who are mad at me because I say that, about Kamala not being qualified. Yeah, she was a lawyer or a law, whatever she was into. I don't care. She was not presidential material, not what people wanted. I was saying, even if she could do the job, it's a weird time right now, and people needed somebody that's strong. And people traditionally vote for somebody who's a strong leader, somebody who shows strength. And I, it's not sexist to say Kamala just did not have strength. It's just the way it is. But anyway, we know in America that we do have checks and balances. As long as those are followed, things will be okay. I'm not too concerned. But it does give me a glimpse into how people think now, about each other. And that's why I feel I have to speak up. I can't help it. I feel like people have to say something. We all get judged. Okay? I'm being judged right now for vaping. I'm being judged now for having long hair, for being a liberal, for talking about Trump, all these guys. But to realize that they're judging everyone who is lesser than them. I watched a movie this morning. It's funny. I love watching a good Netflix movie in the morning. For some reason, I like watching a good cheesy action flick. And I watched an older one that I hadn't seen before. It was kind of one of those cheesy. Yeah, it had what was the guy's name? Butler. It's not Rhett Butler, is it? Is it Rhett Butler? No, Jared Butler, I think. Anyway, some Butler guy. One of the tough guys, right? He was in this movie called Geostorm. And it's where he's this astronaut that designs this space station that protects the Earth from extreme weather during, climate change. And they put this big net around the planet and basically use satellites to control the weather to make sure that there's no extreme weather events. Naturally, something goes wrong. He had been fired early on for some negligence, and then, of course, they call him 3 years later. He's working out on some, remote area, working on his truck, and we need you, man. It's just like the Rambo story, the same old shit. Like, okay, whatever. Cheesy movie. But I don't know. It got me thinking about the quality of a president. And I don't recall what the guy's name was. Shit. He's a bald guy. He plays a really good president in the movie. Maybe if I look it up, somebody will post it in the comments if you look it up. The movie's called Geostorm. Say, who was the president in Geostorm? I could probably ask some, AI assistant. But he just played a very serious president that gave a shit about what was going on. He was attentive. He was aware. He looked people in the eye. And he cared about the average person's interest. This is all we want as Americans, right? And we are so desperate to get it that, we brought in a con artist as president. And a lot of folks don't know that. I get it. I know people will completely deny that's the case, but it is the case. It's just a fact. I mean, I can't sit back and pretend like, well, everybody has their opinions. Um, we have people who help themselves and people who help others. And you can see it in their eyes, you can see it in their actions, you can see it in their behaviors, you can see it in their service, the things they've done in their lives. So it's up to you and I to take care of each other. There's no civil war between you and me. It's a class issue. And the sooner we realize that, the sooner we find out that we don't have to battle about who should be president. We should battle about what the president should be actually doing to help us. Because a long time ago, when I was younger, people were arguing about, you know, what the president should say about health care or minimum wage. That shit's long gone, my friends, and it shouldn't be. Now they're talking about whether or not planes are crashing due to DEI or whether they can cut funding to certain programs to do what exactly. Like, I haven't seen any of the results of their actions, nor have they made a big plan for Americans to actually get a tax cut for you and me. Plenty of tax cuts for the rich, like every fucking time a president is in office. So, yeah, it's up to us. Be smart enough to see through the bullshit. Anyway, that's all I got for now. I'm out. Gonna go to bed. Tired. Long day. Remodeling my kitchen. It's stressful, okay? Getting closer, though. Peace out.